Welcome to APUSH for 5, your shortcut to mastering the AP U.S. history exam. Let's jump into our midterm review, periods 1 through 4. If you can master these hard-level questions, you're well on your way to an A. Question 1. Stimulus covering questions 1 to 3. Excerpt 1. J. Hector St. John de Crèvecoeur, Letters from an American Farmer, 1782. He is an American who, leaving behind him all his ancient prejudices and manners, receives new ones from the new mode of life he has embraced. The American is a new man. Excerpt 2. Noah Webster, Preface to an American Dictionary of the English Language, 1828. Language as well as government should be national. America must have a system of her own, distinct from all others, governed by reason and not by precedent. Question. Together, these excerpts most directly reflect which transformation in early U.S. society? A. The assertion of a distinctive American identity grounded in civic equality and cultural autonomy from Europe. B. The redefinition of liberty as an individual rather than communal ideal amid shifting Enlightenment influences. C. The emergence of regional cultural divisions that weakened the ideal of national unity. D. The persistence of European intellectual dependence despite political independence. The correct answer is A. The assertion of a distinctive American identity grounded in civic equality and cultural autonomy from Europe. Both Crèvecoeur and Webster define Americanness as distinct and self-reliant, marking the separation of culture and intellect from Old World models. Question 2. Stimulus. See image. Question. Webster's call for linguistic unity most closely parallels which broader reform impulse of the early republic? A. The expansion of voluntary societies promoting moral discipline and civic virtue. B. The effort to harmonize economic growth with moral regulation through state intervention. C. The movement for universal public education as a tool for Republican homogeneity. D. The drive for regional specialization in production to reinforce sectional interdependence. The correct answer is C. The movement for universal public education as a tool for Republican homogeneity. Webster's linguistic nationalism reflected a Republican goal of moral and civic unity through schooling, not merely voluntary reform. Question 3. Stimulus see image. Question. Crèvecoeur's description of the new man most directly conflicts with which later development? A. The transcendentalist critique of material progress as incompatible with spiritual virtue. B. The rise of nativist movements like the Know-Nothings, who rejected immigrant assimilation. C. The agrarian ideal promoted by Jeffersonian Republicans. D. The market revolution's celebration of individual self-interest. The correct answer is B. The rise of nativist movements like the Know-Nothings who rejected immigrant assimilation. Crèvecoeur's optimism about cultural blending contrasts with later nativist exclusion. Question 4. Stimulus covering questions 4 through 6. Excerpt 1. Henry Clay, Speech on the American System, 1824. By fostering internal improvements in domestic industry, we shall bind together the various parts of our extended republic, making each dependent on the other, and all on the Union. Excerpt 2. Andrew Jackson, Bank Veto Message, 1832. It is to be regretted that the rich and powerful, too, often bend the axe of government to their selfish purposes. The humble members of society, the farmers, mechanics, and laborers, have a right to complain of injustice. Question. The key contrast between Clay's and Jackson's arguments centers most directly on A. The legitimacy of federal investment in Western land speculation and internal improvements. B. Competing constitutional interpretations of implied powers in relation to monetary policy. C. The moral justification for social hierarchy under an emerging capitalist order. D. The degree to which government should coordinate economic growth as a unifying national force. The correct answer is D. The degree to which government should coordinate economic growth as a unifying national force. Clay envisioned government-led economic unity, while Jackson denounced such intervention as elite privilege. Question 5. Stimulus. See image. Question. Jackson's veto rhetoric best represents which broader ideological shift in American political culture? A. The transformation of Republican equality from a civic virtue into a populist appeal to the common man. B. The emergence of sectional loyalty as a dominant factor in electoral realignment. C. The erosion of judicial independence amid expanding executive power. D. The consolidation of the market economy as the moral basis of democracy. The correct answer is A. The transformation of Republican equality from a civic virtue into a populist appeal to the common man. Jackson reframed equality as popular sovereignty and political participation rather than virtue or deference. Question 6. Stimulus. See image. Question. Clay's argument for the American system most directly reflected which underlying belief about the early republic? A. That international trade posed the greatest danger to Republican virtue by corrupting domestic production. B. That the federal government's interference in commerce threatened agrarian virtue and local autonomy. C. That balanced regional specialization, supported by federal coordination, could preserve both liberty and national prosperity. D. That economic self-sufficiency required withdrawal from European markets and strict tariff isolationism. The correct answer is C. That balanced regional specialization, supported by federal coordination, could preserve both liberty and national prosperity. Clay envisioned internal improvements in tariffs as unifying mechanisms to link sectional economies and strengthen the republic. Question 7. Stimulus covering questions 7 through 9. Excerpt 1. Alexander Hamilton. Report on Manufactures, 1791. To cherish and stimulate the activity of the human mind by multiplying the objects of enterprise is not among the least considerable of the expedients by which the wealth of a nation may be promoted. Excerpt 2. Philadelphia Mechanics' Union of Trade Associations, Address to the Public, 1827. We seek not to destroy but to perfect the system of industry, that it may distribute its blessings, not on a few but on the many. Question. The most significant divergence between Hamilton and the Mechanics' Union lies in A. The extent to which foreign trade should regulate domestic manufacturing output. B. Whether industrial expansion should serve the nation's wealth or the moral dignity of its workers. C. Their contrasting views on the necessity of tariffs to prevent overproduction and wage deflation. D. Whether agrarian independence remained the surest path to Republican virtue. The correct answer is B. Whether industrial expansion should serve the nation's wealth or the moral dignity of its workers. Hamilton emphasized elite-driven national prosperity. The Mechanics' Union prioritized fairness and shared benefit. Question 8. Stimulus. See image. Question. The appeal by the Mechanics' Union of 1827 most clearly demonstrates which feature of early American industrial society? A. The widespread acceptance of class hierarchy as a necessary condition for economic efficiency. B. The rapid replacement of artisan craftsmanship with mechanized production directed by federal planners. C. The unified resistance of employers and workers to government involvement in the economy. D. The tension between Republican ideals of independence and the realities of wage labor in a market economy. The correct answer is D. The tension between Republican ideals of independence and the realities of wage labor in a market economy. The mechanics' union embodied early laborers' struggle to reconcile self-reliance with dependence on wages, a hallmark of early industrialization. Question 9. Stimulus. See image. Question. Hamilton's rationale for industrialization most clearly reflects which broader intellectual current? A. Early Romantic glorification of industry as a natural extension of divine creation. B. A continuation of mercantilist dependency on colonial resource extraction. C. Enlightenment confidence in human rationality and progress through economic diversification. D. The Jeffersonian preference for agrarian simplicity as moral restraint. The correct answer is C. Enlightenment confidence in human rationality and progress through economic diversification. Hamilton's emphasis on planning, reason, and productivity embodies Enlightenment economic rationalism. Question 10. Stimulus. Judith Sargent Murray, on the Equality of the Sexes, 1790, argued that women possess the same intellectual capacities as men, and that their subordination stemmed from limited educational opportunity rather than natural inferiority. The Seneca Falls Declaration of Sentiments, 1848, drew on the language of the Declaration of Independence to demand legal and political equality, asserting that women's grievances mirrored those of the American Revolution. Question: taken together, these writings best illustrate which long-term development in women's political thought? A. The expansion of Enlightenment ideals of natural equality into organized demands for civic and political rights. B. The retreat from intellectual equality toward domestic moral reform. C. The rejection of Republican motherhood as incompatible with virtue. D. The dependence of women's movements on religious revivalism rather than political ideology. The correct answer is A. The expansion of Enlightenment ideals of natural equality into organized demands for civic and political rights. Murray anticipated the intellectual egalitarianism later made explicit at Seneca Falls. Both reflect the adaptation of Enlightenment equality to women's rights, linking intellectual emancipation to civic participation. Thanks for watching A Push for 5. Let us know in the comments which questions you liked the most. If today's practice helped you, tap like, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any future videos. And share this with a friend who's also aiming for that 5. If you want more hands-on learning or direct feedback, reach out directly. We'd love to help you take your prep to the next level. See you in the next video.